This is a neighborhood in Bundang, South Korea, a wealthy suburb of Seoul that boasts a high socioeconomic status. The red brick building nestled in between the towering high-rise condominium apartments is BIS Canada. BIS Canada is a K-12 British Columbia offshore school. It was founded in 2008 and was the first of its kind in Korea. Although it is located in South Korea, it functions like any other school in the province. Students have opportunities for extracurricular activities as they would in BC. This is the main factor which makes BIS Canada unique from public schools in Korea. My name is Wes Boyce. I'm the Senior Creative Arts teacher at BIS Canada, and for the past 6 years in that position, I've worked to grow the program within the school community.
Hold the freeze. Excellent. Relax, keep moving, keep moving.
In 2012, I created 2 Board Authority authorized courses, Film Studies 11 and Film Studies 12. These courses offered great diversity within the program.
Questions with the trimming function? No, we're good? Yeah, Grace?
Oh, what should I do if I am finished with using the blade?
With blade, once you're done with blade, if you're here on blade, you can just come back into the same menu and hit select, and then that'll put you at a neutral function. Good question.
By teaching different subjects within the creative arts, I have been granted the opportunity to form unique relationships with many different students. Over the past 6 years, many relationships have grown tremendously due to the involvement in our extracurricular drama club. The club is for students who are passionate about the performing arts. Each year, our productions have grown in scale and spectacle. They have been a staple within the culture of the school and something that the school community looks forward to immensely each year.
Welcome to our first meeting. This year is 2014-2015 Drama Club. Okay, it is only September 12th today, so it's very, very early in the year to get started. Usually we perform around March.
At the start of the school year, as I always do, I held our first preliminary drama club meeting. I went over the fundamentals, the level of commitment required for this club, the strong tradition we've built in our school community. I touched on our meeting times and when to look out for upcoming announcements like casting and crew assignments.
This is a team, okay? It's a big team. But your team is only as strong as your weakest link.
What I did not mention at this meeting, or at any point in the year for that matter, is that my goal and focus for this year's drama production would be completely different than in years past. My goal was to create an environment that would provide opportunities for students to emerge as self-regulated leaders through the medium of dramatic arts.
And then you drop them down. Okay, try that.
Yes. How do I get in touch with this fairy godmother?
Sky above, ground below. I must tell you, I don't know.
As we started our rehearsals in November, I began thinking about and looking for students who I felt would greatly benefit from taking on leadership roles. That being said, what did being a student leader mean in this context? Throughout the process of forming our mini drama club productions, students were delegated various responsibilities and given difficult tasks, but would this really foster students to become leaders? As I thought deeper about this question, I realized that I would need to think differently about my own leadership. As our process of rehearsing and preparing our production continued, upon reflection I stepped back to look at the way I was leading. I asked myself, am I giving my students the right opportunities to become leaders? Do my students have a voice? Right? If someone said that to you and you're going to meet this guy and he says that to you, he's like, oh, get out of my light, I can't see myself. Oh, you're supposed to care about me, I'm the beautiful princess. And he's caring about himself. How dare he? Taking myself out of the equation for a second and looking specifically at what current research is saying about student leadership helped reinforce my hunch. There is no doubt that there was a major rise towards the interest in student leadership in secondary schools. Though vast research and funding has been offered to the field of student leadership, very little research has been conducted towards the structure and implementation of student leadership from the student's point of view. This lack of focused research neglects the student voice. Past and current research tends to focus on how adults foster youth participation and leadership in school reform efforts. Conclusions I drew on my review of research noted the following factors were essential in fostering effective student leadership: school environment, peer and faculty relationships, and most importantly, implementing the student voice to shape the self-journey and growth of student leaders. Amongst the many students involved, Matilda Park emerged as a great candidate who I felt could benefit immensely from experiencing valuable leadership opportunities. Matilda Park is a grade 12 student at BIS Canada. Once again, she is taking on the role of assistant director for the second year in a row. She has proven herself as a hard-working, well-prepared individual who is both very selfless and soft-spoken.
Can I check my actions? Nice tone.
Matilda would check with actors at the start of every rehearsal and share her notes. This was a very thankless job. As well, though it was very important to the growth of our show, it didn't seem to be enabling her to lead our cast as an assistant director could. I thought about the environment I was creating. Perhaps my always being present was a little overbearing. What?
Hey guys, take a seat.
At the start of the next rehearsal, I announced to the entire company that I'd be stepping out of the rehearsal and leaving Matilda in charge in my place.
Well, I'm working with Amy and then Miss Lee down in B1, okay, with the crew that she's going to select. Okay, I'm going to leave Matilda in charge as director for the entire rehearsal when I'm not here.
Servant 1, I present to you.
I present to you the Royal Magic Mirror.
I've been on stage for only 2 minutes, but I'm already knocking on it.
Go away.
No, stand up and sit back down.
Go away.
Yeah. narrate.
She's not here today.
Who wants to play? You can read the line.
My plan anticipated a two-pronged effect. First, to allow Matilda time and space to develop her own leadership style.
I brought my team. That's great.
The second advantage to this plan was to include student production crew members in making important set design decisions and insisting on their input. In past productions, I would have simply handled this task alone.
You guys remember from last year? It's 3 banners sewn together. So essentially, if this was the 3 banners, this would be too big, don't you think? For the windows, like it just would. The windows would almost be the whole thing.
Yeah.
And our ceiling line is quite high, and then remember this is our floor. So I think if this was the banner, the windows are too big. So it
We
would.
might have like first up here until like only the half, or just only the one section.
Yes.
This is going to be printed out.
Yeah, it's going to be printed on 3 separate banners and sewn together, and they'll line up perfectly. So even if the window is over 2, it'll still be okay. It'll still line up. So the issue is, how big? Because currently it looks a little big, but
Yeah, I think this looks big.
yeah, I think it
It doesn't look window.
It doesn't look like a window. It looks
Yeah.
like a gate. That's right. So by bringing it down in size, we were trying to say either like the size of one, like if this is our 3 pieces, right? 1, 2, 3. Maybe only one of them. So like something like 1.1 meter, right?
Yeah.
That's
But if that is too small, we might get a little bit more bigger until like 1.5 or.
Or I think this side would be okay if it's not
1.1.
too big.
So like it's a nice balance in between, maybe a little higher up,
Yeah.
at the bottom. So a little bit,
Can you show it's more at the bottom?
I think we also need to.
the distance there.
Yeah.
So this is going to be here and here, right?
Yeah, that's a good.
This one.
Yeah, that's a good point, Amy. Are
Or
these
we can cut it half.
windows
Or
12?
we might like for here we can have 1 window and 1 window.
Right.
Then we can make it more like wider for this, and at the other side there's one more.
After designing our main background, we still needed some additional fabrics to finish off the look of our castle set.
Yes. So transfer. Is that how you get here? Oh man. Oh, so it looks like you don't know. So we go to Kangnam and then we go, I think 1 or 2 stops. Yeah. So where do you go when you go?
For the task of purchasing additional fabrics, again like with the first stage of preparing the background set, I wanted my student leaders to take charge of this responsibility. I decided to let 2 Year 12 students lead me into the fabric district of Seoul. Matilda Park and Sam Kim would be responsible for navigating the busy streets of the district and negotiating with the vendor in the Korean language, and then accurately translating the negotiations back to me in English.
So much stuff with notes, but I'm just wondering.
We don't need to show all of them.
Yeah, exactly, and like
So I'm thinking of diagram.
yeah, the diagrams are good, and like some of the issues are though that like you have so many notes spread out. Like there's just like little note here, little note there. So it's like trying to condense it, yeah, and organize it.
This field trip was also an excellent opportunity to continue to build relationships with my students. Matilda, who is applying to many UK university theatre programs, was eager to chat about her portfolio and to hear my advice as a theatre program graduate. After spending 9 years living in Korea, my Korean language ability was a lot stronger than I let on to my students. It was through this disguise that I would purposely allow the fabric negotiations to become more complicated and difficult for my student leaders. I wanted to really push them, for if they could succeed through difficult circumstances, their self-growth and satisfaction would be far greater.
To have pattern or nothing?
I think we need to decide that by looking at it. Yeah, I think.
둘 다. 먹으면서.
어디 쪽에 쓰시는 거예요? 뭐
그 공연 그 무대에.
무대. 저부터 이거.
You know, these are nice curtains.
전화 한번 왔는데 그러구나. 안 그래도 전화 왔거든요. 단색도 보면은 무대 많이 하시는 거는 이렇게 벨벳 쪽으로 많이 하세요. 예. 앉으세요.
감사합니다.
네, 앉으세요. 이런 거 쓰는 거예요, 얘네들이. 벨벳들이.
That's beautiful, eh? Oh, that's nice too.
But I think this one looks more, I guess, more luxurious.
Yeah, more regal, right? We began looking through the fabric dealer's samples, trying to discover the best fabric for our needs, for the best price. As well, we needed to communicate with the vendor how the fabric was to be hung, so he could sew it accordingly. We're not buying curtains for a family home, we are creating a wall dressing to hang in our castle. This unique and obscure request is not an easy thing to communicate to someone who is outside of the space. However, Matilda rose to the occasion and clearly articulated our vision to the vendor so that he could understand our needs.
So our theater looks like this, with this, and this is door, and we're gonna hang from here to here, right?
Yes.
그러니까 이게 그냥 이 천장에 바로 가는 게 아니고
네.
천장 위에 이렇게 있어요.
네.
그리고 여기가 문이고 여기 벽이 있어요. 그리고 다른 이 뒤쪽 벽에서부터 여기까지 이렇게 닿는 거예요. 이 문을 가리려고. 네. 여기 뒤에 또 벽이 있어요.
네.
이렇게 닿는 거.
공하셔도 상관없어요.
So from here to
그나마는 그쪽 거에서 부르셔야 돼요.
여기서요?
네.
이거 그러면 가격은 거의 똑같지?
가격은 똑같이 해드릴게요. 이게 원래는 더 싸요.
Matilda was handling the negotiations with confidence and maturity. Thanks to her ability in this situation, we were able to purchase exactly what we wanted for an incredible discounted price. We paid for the fabrics and thanked the vendor for his generosity. We received energy drinks as a gesture of good faith and gratitude for our business. We left the meeting feeling very proud of what we accomplished. We discussed aspects of the meeting that were challenging but successful. I highlighted specific moments where these student leaders demonstrated qualities such as patience, listening skills, asking questions, and problem-solving abilities. Feeling very proud of my students, I offered to buy them dinner. Matilda suggested a good restaurant that was just a short bus ride away from where we were.
이번 정류소는 신반포역입니다. 다음 정류소는 구반포역입니다. This stop is 신반포 Station.
앉으셔요.
I especially enjoyed this part of the trip, sitting back with my students, eating great traditional food from their country. It is here I have a real opportunity to allow them to teach me. This reversal of roles is an excellent reinforcement of trust, which only furthered our relationship. Out of respect for the owners of the restaurant, we didn't continue filming. After a long but very successful day, we headed back home to Bundang. We had made a great contribution to our production, but we still had a lot of work to do. Though the preparation for our production was extensive, it was very important to enjoy the process. I used this chance outside of the classroom to grow relationships with my students, allowing us to become closer and to increase trust.
This is the text you learned. She did it. Hard stuff in English, easy stuff in Korean. Good. You can come by and paint my house tomorrow.
In addition to a fun atmosphere, the environment was one where members' contribution and input was valid. Students were having discussions and making decisions about how to solve problems. They are seeing the work they are doing contribute directly to our one common goal.
Probably about 9 o'clock, March 5th. Yes.
That is Thursday. We have to give them back before 7.
Before 7, you guys called?
Yes. If not, we have to pay more.
Okay, so 7's the cutoff. Okay.
Ellen Jong and Da-Yoon Lee were our 2 wardrobe managers. They were in charge of selecting and renting our costumes for a cast of 35 elaborate characters. Managing and organizing a task of this size is no easy feat for a team of professionals, let alone 2 Year 10 students. However, by affording them the responsibility to self-lead and make big decisions themselves, they were able to create fabulous results and feel empowered at the same time. I interviewed the girls about the process after the show's run in March.
We specialized in the costumes of the play, and it was really a hard job because we had to choose what costume was fit for each characters, and also we have to think about the budgets and we have to ask the size and if the actors like them, so it was kind of hard.
So how did that, sounds like a lot of different responsibilities and then a lot of relationships and stuff. You mentioned having to talk to the actors. How did that go? Was everybody really positive and just saying, yeah, that looks great? Or were there some situations where it was a little difficult? What do you think, you guys?
Some actors were really satisfied about the costume that we picked, but some actors really disagree, so we had to choose again. And we have to choose again for the costume that best suitable for both of the actors and for us. So.
It must have been a challenge working with so many different people in different relationships. Was there any situations where you used your leadership role to kind of coerce individuals towards a common goal?
Well, since when we chose the costume, the way that all characters can make a harmony and they can look well at that theme. So if one person didn't like it, the other characters should all change their costumes too. So we kind of explained that situation to the person who didn't like the costume.
Excellent. Sounds like a really good strategy, trying to group everything together and making everybody go along. That's great. You guys were the leaders of this role, and you had very, very little guidance from the director or from anyone really. You guys really had to lead yourselves. How did you know how to do that? And then how was that experience for you?
For example, like we had to call the company who made the costumes and we were the first time doing any of those adult things, so it was kind of nervous at first. We were scared if they would find out we were kind of children and they would look down at us or like give us an expensive price or something. But we figured it out. We had to call like 4 companies, and the first companies, like we stammered a little and we asked a lot of things. But when we went to the 4th one, we were kind of like professionals. So
awesome. Any last comments just before we finish the interview?
Well, I am very especially proud of the fairy godmother costume that we created, because we looked every internet sites available in Korea to find for that fairy godmother costume, but we couldn't find it, like, unfortunately. So we had to kind of rip the dress, the arms of the dress that was used by another teacher in the Halloween. And we made Ellen sewed the hoodie part, and it made like a collar.
Yes.
And she also brought a ribbon, pink ribbon, to go well with that.
Yes.
And since the actor of that character was very unique, I think our costume very fit well with the character, and we were very proud of that one.
Excellent. Good job, guys. I totally agree. Very creative what you guys did there. Excellent. Well, thank you for your time, and this was a great interview. I'm really happy you guys took a moment to speak about it. So thank you.
Thank you.
When researching and discussing the dramatic arts within the theater, anyone who has spent any time within the medium will conclude one certainty. Drama is the most ephemeral art form of them all. This spontaneity creates an organic and living quality, unlike any other in the creative arts. Each year, our goal is to produce a better show, better acting, and better production. This year, we added a number of elements that relied heavily on the actors' and technicians' timing to work together off of one cue. For this effect, our actor throws a paper airplane just behind a drop-down screen that will play a short film we created using green screen technology to complete the effect. Here is the production effect in one of our live performances.
When she felt the time was just right, she released the airplane. As it flew, it carried with it the hopes and dreams of the family. It carried with it the idea of happily ever after. It traveled over the mountains and through the woods. It traveled all the way to the enchanted Mars.
When working in drama, there always seems to be a special kind of luck or even magic that is present. I was still hoping for a situation to arise where Matilda, our assistant director, could put her tremendous effort to use and help lead our show as no one else could. The ephemeral nature of drama allowed an opportunity to present itself. During one of our live performances, 2 actors were to turn on and watch the Royal 20-foot flat-screen TV, as it's called in the script. We created 2 videos that were embedded into a PowerPoint presentation that would be advanced by remote control. Unfortunately, the first actor pushed the backward arrow rather than the forward one. This caused the PowerPoint to go into the escape function, as you see here. I asked the crew to immediately locate Matilda. I wanted to talk to her and get her ideas about how we could prevent the second actor from making the same mistake. After the show's run, I interviewed Matilda and spoke to her about that moment.
And the second thing was the emergency in live theater. So in the last show, in evening show, some actor pushes the wrong button of the TV commercial, so it goes really. It made us panic, and we didn't know what to do. And the director suggested to write a big sign for the next actor to push the right remote button, and I gave him a great idea to write that sign on a notepad that the other actor will be see later in this show. That's because I really get to know the script well as I'm directing the people and answering the questions to people, and also gathering the props and the orders.
That's fabulous. What a great story of how you real-world problem-solved that there. Just speak for a moment, if you can, about your role and relationships with others as assistant director.
So people try to respect me. Like, for example, I need to make an announcement when everyone was busy with like changing their costumes and like after the show, but I need to make an announcement about blocking or other stuff, and they were like so loud because their show is finished. But so I try to speak loud, but it's not loud enough, one voice. So other actors and crew like say, "Oh, pay attention to her." Like, yes, yes, she's saying something.
Excellent.
Yes.
So you felt real support.
Yes.
From your other team members.
Yes.
So I want you to concentrate and I want you to focus, but I still want you to have fun and I really want you to enjoy it, and you know, take a moment and reflect while you're in it. Because for you guys going away, you know, this is the last time, and for you younger guys, this is your last time this year. So really enjoy the process of what you're doing. Have fun and give it your all. Anyone want to say anything?
Let's have fun.
Let's have fun. Let's do it.
Oh yes.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, so that's a good one. Let's go with some nice energy. We can do it nice and loud. They'll hear us out there. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get our hands in here. All right, let's go on 3. 1, 2, 3.
I don't need it.
감사합니다. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. So proud of these kids. They worked so hard for so long, and they just turned out an amazing show. And you know, this is what it's all about, the support from everybody here, making things like this for drama and the arts happen. So thank you so much for your support, and thank you for coming. Thank you to everyone who made this show possible. Thank you so much.
I'd say they nailed it.
So much.
MG. Yeah, it's good. I like that. Sarah's was so good.
I like Michael's performance.
His dances and his hair. Yeah, I love
What I was thinking is, though, the voice has such a knack for casting in the right.
Oh, they were perfect. Yeah.
It's like they were perfect. I was thinking of Suckin and Michael, just perfect.
Yeah. Everyone was
Kevin,
so
I thought
good.
was perfect.
Kevin was perfect.
Yeah. Ryan was good. Yeah.
He's got a real knack for casting.
Yeah, suits into their perfect roles.
Because that's not easy.
Probably was.
Yeah. And he picks it out early too.
Yeah.
He knows right away.